Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video we're reviewing a used Gen 3 Raptor. Depreciation is finally a thing with these Raptors, and so the prices, they're getting pretty exciting. Before we get into this video, I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to the lender over here in Lehigh for giving me some time with this used Gen 3. I'll include a link to their website in the description down below. Also include a link to my car buying guide. Let's get into it. So for the regular Gen 3 Raptor, you have the EcoBoost twin-turbo 3.5-liter V6. It goes through a 10-speed. It puts out 450 horsepower and 510 pound-feet of torque. Fuel economy, you can expect to get mid-teens. Before I move forward with this review, I do want to mention, if you want to see more videos just like this, then I recommend you subscribe because I post content every single day. So if you guys watch my newer reviews, you know that they changed the front end style of the Gen 3. And so this is the first style, which I still think looks really sharp. You guys can see really cool with the orange light there. You've got all the marker lights as well. Chunky Ford logo there. We've got the skid plate there at the bottom on top of that. So it's just a really cool look. The only thing that I think is not cool in this truck is the tire and wheel setup. So they went for these super aggressive mud terrain tires, which are great in certain off-road circumstances, but on-road, they just, yeah, we'll talk about that during the driving portion. And then bigger wheels. I don't understand this. I don't understand why people put wheels that are larger than 18-inch in diameter on off-road vehicles. And I think these look like they're 20s, probably. Yeah, 37 by 12.5 by 20. So, I mean, 37s are cool, but still, we need to cancel this. If we're going to cancel anything in today's society, it needs to be people that put 20s on Raptors. That's all I'm going to put with that. Anyways, giant chunky fender flares. You've got the fixed side steps here. And then the new live valve shocks on the Gen 3 are fantastic. It's a really cool, oh, they're on the other side, I forgot. It's a really cool system overall. Drives really well both on-road and off-road because of that. And this one's got like the really dark blue color, so it's actually a pretty cool spec in terms of how it looks. You got the trombone exhaust, which is very, very loud. And then the interior on the Gen 3, I think, is pretty cool. And this has over 40,000 miles. The backseat area, it looks like it wasn't really used all that much. So you can see it looks pretty much brand new back here, which is nice, right? That's what you want with the used vehicle. It's got heated seats and all of that for the rear as well. And the doors still sound solid. But yeah, up front, this is going to have the most wear. And you can see that this is also held up pretty well with the mileage. We've got your mirror adjustments and all that, power folding mirrors, memory seats. This one's loaded up. Cool trim there. And then the front seat, this is going to have the most wear of any item in the vehicle. And you can see that, look at that, super solid. So I wasn't expecting this. I mean, you can see a little bit of creasing here on the leather there on the bottom. But, I mean, that's pretty nice for a seat that has over 40,000 miles on it, or at least I think so. And then getting in, grab handle helps out quite a bit. And yeah, still sounds solid. Built Ford Tough. Digital gauge cluster is pretty cool. So you guys can see there are 40,700 miles on this one. Now the steering wheel does show some wear here from hand oil. That is one thing to note. But again, not a big deal at all. The dash is held up really well. So it's cool to see these things on used vehicles, or at least to me. The Gen 3 is a really cool 360 camera system. Big infotainment system. It's one of the big benefits of this new Gen 3 over the Gen 2 is just this whole system here. Still get like the advanced four-wheel drive system, rear locking differential. And this version of the Gen 3 has the Torsen front differential. So something that's important, I think. Dual zone climate, heated and ventilated seats. You know, it's a fully loaded truck at the end of the day. You also have a bunch of auxiliary switches, power sliding rear window, which is a cool feature as well. And then this one actually doesn't have a sunroof, which a lot of people like because Ford's sunroofs just end up leaking and creaking. That's just the thing that they do. And so not having that is kind of nice, and also helps out with the headroom as well. But anyways, let's take this out, see how it performs, and talk about the Gen 3. Also, pricing on this. This one's mid-60s for the pricing. So, I mean, a new Raptor is over 80 grand now. So, $15,000 for the same generation. And again, if you do not get the 37 performance package, this has the same shocks as a new Raptor with the 35s. So, something to consider. Well, let us set off in our Raptor with the noisy exhaust. Gotta love the trombone exhaust. It's pretty cool. It's got a deep tone to it. I mean, for a V6, it ain't bad. It ain't bad. Now, I'm gonna instantly complain about the tires. I despise mud terrains for on-road use because, first off, it destroys the roads, which, yeah, is annoying. But the bigger thing is, it just rides horrible. Like, you feel it chunking at the road. And so, again, if you don't need the mud terrains, because most people that buy mud terrains don't take their vehicles off-road, by the way. If you don't need the mud terrains, I just don't get the point. Like, all-terrain tires look fantastic, good enough. And so it's just, yeah, I don't know. We've got some pretty aggressive all-terrains on like one of our Land Cruisers, and in my opinion, those look just as good as mud terrains, if not better. But you have like none of the downsides. Like this, you can tell the suspension's just so dialed in, but then the tires just it ruins it. It's not horrible though. It still has that magic carpet ride. Because once you're up and moving at higher speeds, the mud terrains, they're loud, but then they don't chunk as much at the road, if that makes sense. There's cows over there. Sorry, I have to... I didn't think they were still... Like, I thought this was just completely left fallow. I didn't think they were still using it, but wow. Interesting. But yeah, I mean, this isn't too bad. The Gen 3, though, in general, it's such a big improvement with the Raptor. Just really cool styling with it. I know some people weren't sold initially, but I think it's done pretty well. I do still like certain elements of the... Wow, people in Utah. I still like certain elements of the Gen 2, but this looks good. Sounds good. Gotta love the trombone exhaust. And yeah, it's just super luxurious. You really do have that magic carpet ride with this where it just doesn't, yeah, it doesn't do much. Again, especially when you have stock tires and wheels, so 17s instead of 20s, which are, I'll say it again, they're stupid. 20s are stupid on a Raptor. Yeah, the stock setup, it just you go over bumps and you just don't even feel it. And then off-road, oh man, these are so good. If you can fit down a trail, a Raptor will go up it. And comfortably too. Like, it's crazy how you can just go over anything and the suspension just absorbs all of it. And because these have such big tires, again, either 35s or 37s, depending on how you equipped it, it does really well over the bumps when you air down the tires. I mean, you air down 37s down to like 20 psi, 17 psi, that range. Ooh, cloud, absolute cloud. So, to fully sum things up here with this Raptor review with the Gen 3, and also they did the stubby. You got to do the stubby. I like it. I think that the Gen 3 is a really cool truck. It drives well. It's got a nice interior, and it seems like it's holding up pretty well so far. I was a little bit concerned. I mean, center console is definitely pretty plasticky, but outside of the center console, it seems like it's doing pretty good. So I guess that I was a little bit too judgmental on the materials and the build quality of the Gen 3, because I mean, again, mine, when going from a Gen 2 to Gen 3, the Gen 3 felt cooler, but then like cheaper in certain ways. But it seems like it's working out. But it'll be interesting to see where these end up price-wise. I think the prices are going to keep going down because of the... Anytime a manufacturer does a refresh or redesign, it always brings the prices down on the older model, unless there's something inherently special about the older model, like, you know, going from a 8-cylinder to a 6-cylinder, for example. The older model then would hold its value better. This is still so weird to me. So, as I was saying, I think that the first iteration of the Gen 3 are probably going to continue to go down in value, maybe. But yeah, I mean, we'll see if Ford ends up doing another full redesign with the F-150. If they do that, I'll definitely do it. But, you know, the refresh did in 24 and then have continued in 25. People will probably want that version, even though it's more expensive, because they want the new looks, right? Raptor people, and I'm saying this as someone who owned a Raptor, you always want the newest, nicest, even if it's not a big change. So I could see these, going down in value more. Like maybe, we'll see what happens. I wouldn't be surprised if I start seeing these in the 50s though, which, yeah, I guess the point, I still can't get over the cows. Anyways, if you don't know, we're in the middle of the city, and so it's like you don't see farm animals out here anymore. You just don't. But either way, let me know if you think about the Gen 3. Let me know if you think if this is cheap enough, or actually it was the other parking space, or if this needs to be cheaper.